Hi, everybody. This is Dave Rich, and welcome to Women's Workout Channel. Today, we're going to do something a little different that we haven't ever done before on this channel. Instead of doing a workout video, I actually want to interview a top scientist and the two founders of C60 EVO. This is a pretty amazing antioxidant product that I have been taking. It has amazing benefits for fitness as well as overall health. So I wanted to tell you guys about it today. Now, if you're not interested, you can just go ahead and click off the video and just watch our other workout videos. But if you really care about your health and you want to be the best you can be, stay tuned. You're going to learn a lot today, and you're going to find out about something that's pretty amazing. So stay tuned. So let me go ahead and bring on my two guests. All right. So today I'm joined by Chris and Patty from C60 EVO.
Hello, David. Thank you so much for having us.
Love to be here.
All right. Well, great to have you two here today. So I brought these two on today to the channel so we can learn more about the product because they know a lot more than I do. So first of all, I'd like to start off just right off the bat, what exactly is C60 and why should we take it?
That's a great question, David. Let me dive into that. And for your audience who is thinking maybe they don't want to listen, I can assure you they do want to listen to this particular interview because there's actually a lot of health benefits. And if you're going after that, like ideal booty, it's about exercise, it's about recovery. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So kind of to roll back in 1985, three professors at Rice University discovered the third form of carbon. If you're watching this, you're looking at what's called a buckyball. If you're not watching, if you imagine a soccer ball, the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. So you have a spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms. That molecule was discovered again in 1985 here in Houston. By 1996, the three professors who discovered it won the Nobel Prize for that discovery because the molecule is actually absolutely amazing. It's harder than a diamond. It'll actually turn into a diamond. It's got six-fold symmetry. In fact, by 1996, those professors won the Nobel Prize for all the amazing things that this molecule can do. So now you might be thinking, well, aren't we talking about a supplement? And yeah, in 2012, they published the results of what was supposed to be a toxicity study. For various reasons, they thought the molecule, we call it ESS60, we thought the molecule might be toxic. And they thought that people would be working with it on a regular basis. So you always want to understand the toxicity of a molecule if lots of people are working with it. So they did this toxicity study. They published the results in 2012. And instead of being toxic, those rats that were given the C60 EVO formula lived 90% longer than the control group. And they died without tumors. Now, this is you're 90% longer. You may be thinking that's a really big number. It's the single longest longevity experimental result in peer-reviewed published research in mammals in history. And that was published in 2012. By about mid-2013, we started getting phone calls. People are like, hey, how much in a dose? And we're from a background, we're carbon nanomaterial scientists. We've been making this buckyball since 1991. And we actually tried not to get into the supplement industry. I didn't like the difference between the industry I was in, which was delivering materials to research institutions around the world, and the supplement industry. I actually found an article, and the article was peer-reviewed, published research that showed 50% of the supplements that are on the market do not have in them what they say they have in them. And so we're delivering to research institutions. If you ever heard like whatever MIT, Naval Aeronautical Weapons Station, any research institution on the planet that's doing work on this buckyball, we delivered material to them. This supplement industry was a little uncomfortable for us. But finally, in 2017, my partner and some influencers kind of started talking about the benefits that they were getting from taking the product on a daily basis. And our phone just blew up. And we're carbon nanomaterial scientists first. We're pedigree is scientific, but there's an entrepreneurial opportunity and really an opportunity to spread this product that people are giving us such amazing testimonials about to as many people as possible. So really in 2018 is when I started taking the product on a regular basis. And when we started developing the brand so that we could bring it to market. And we're bringing really the evolution of C60 to you and to your audience right now. And it's the molecules ESS60. And if you've got any questions or not, we can start jumping into some of the amazing testimonials and how it can probably help you get your booty right.
So what would be some benefits in terms of exercise taking this product?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to start with a pretty extreme example because I think it's very important for a number of reasons. So we're working with a gentleman who is a two-time U.S. national ultra running champion. His name's Anthony Kunkel. He's the kind of guy who runs 120 miles a week. I don't know about you. I usually run between 2 or 3 miles. If I'm at 2 miles a jog, I've got to run 60 times a week just to get to the same pace that he's running. And his testimonial is this. He said, I've never heard anything like this. He goes, I do not believe it's helping me with recovery. I believe it's preventing damage in the first place, right? How important is that so that you're preventing that damage so you can get to that next routine? He went on to say, the reason I'm saying that it prevents damage in the first place is because on the last 10 miles of a 50-mile run, by the way, that's a phrase you won't hear very often, but on the last 10 miles where leg strength and stability used to be an issue, they're no longer an issue. And so you're talking about one of the most elite athletes on the planet who's getting benefits. Now, one thing that's important about him, Anthony shared with me in our very first conversation that he started taking 1 serving of the product and didn't notice that much. And maybe it's because of the elite training level that he's working at. When he shifted to 3 servings, he was like, wow. And he even stated that he believes that if you're a young running athlete, that the difference that this product would make for them could easily be the difference between a running career or just running as a hobby at a higher level. So I think that's pretty important in terms of recovery, right? So if you look at, you're trying to build muscle mass, if you want to understand what you have to be doing for that, one of them is exercise, one of them is eating properly, and the third pillar that a lot of people sometimes ignore, maybe just because life is a little bit busy, but is incredibly important, is sleep. Now, sleep is one of our most consistent testimonials. Most of our customers take our product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. I actually pulled up an article from Sports Lab New York City. They were talking about sleeping 7, and I'm going to read this. Sleeping 7 to 9 hours per night is crucial, especially if you're looking to change your body composition, increase muscle mass, and if you want to be ready for your personal training session the next day. So that sleep helps your body recover from the training session today so you can train tomorrow. Sleep enhances muscle recovery through protein synthesis and human growth hormone release. There's kind of 2 phases of sleep. One of them is REM sleep and one of them is non-REM sleep. It's a deeper sleep. During that non-REM deeper sleep is when your body's releasing human growth hormones. Again, that's where you're doing the recovery. That's where you're able to wake up and do another strong training the next day, which is what muscle mass is all about.
Now, how exactly does this help somebody with sleep? For example, I feel like one of the main reasons a lot of Americans at least have trouble sleeping is due to, let's say, anxiety. I mean, has this helped with anxiety? What aspect does it help people sleep better?
That is an amazing question. So, and what I like to say in general is people smarter than me are going to ultimately figure this out. And I'm going to start sharing some kind of more testimonials, and it's important for your audience to know the FDA hasn't evaluated our product. It's not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. Anxiety is labeled as a disease by the FDA. So I'm not able to say, oh yeah, people who have anxiety, this will fix it. I can share with you that we have a number of testimonials. In fact, I can give you one, which I think it's really surprising. So I got some product to an influencer, and her job was to make a video, right? And the first video she did, she started the video with, I'm in the process of quitting smoking. So for anybody who's ever known a smoker or ever smoked and quit smoking, it's a pretty painful, it's not like physically painful process, but your anxiety is up, your stress levels up, you're usually cranky, you got headaches. And so when she said that, I was like, oh, great. If I had known you were in the process of quitting smoking, I probably would have waited until you were done quitting smoking and then gotten product to you so that you could provide a testimonial. Anyway, she went on to provide a pretty amazing testimonial about our product, and it was related to sleep. And one of the phrases that she said, she was a mom, and one of the phrases she said was, I find that I have a longer fuse with my children, right? So more patience. Well, that's the question that you ask is like, is it helping with anxiety and therefore you're sleeping more? Or is it's well documented that lack of sleep will cause anxiety and that will cause give you an inability or a reduced ability to handle your emotions. So we're kind of in a chicken egg situation. I like the thing that we're comfortable, again, because our customers are always telling us how much better their sleep is. Even if they get less hours of sleep, they're reporting, they wake up and they're not tired. So they're getting some sort of deeper sleep or whatever that is that's going on. And we can talk about that kind of chemically here in a second. They are getting better sleep. And I usually like to lump things into that when people talk about better for performance. Well, if you got better sleep, you've got better physical performance. If you're able to better handle your emotions and less trauma and stress, well, better sleep will do that for you. And so I really kind of, my thought process right now is that it is the sleep. And then we could have a little debate about, well, why is it helping you sleep?
All right. So my other question also is to the health aspect. So you mentioned in the study, none of the rats that were given C60 had any diseases when they died. But in the control group, I mean, how many of those rats had some sort of a disease or health issue?
Well, in this particular case, it's tumors. And in that study, they used Wistar rats. A typical Wistar rat lives out to about 32 months, and they die with a known amount of tumor. The longer they live, the more tumor mass they have in their body, right? Even though the C60 Evo rats live 90% longer, out to 62 months, none of them had any tumors. Now, some people make me really nervous and they jump to like, oh, it's good, it's a cure for cancer. No, that is not what we're saying at all. There's a huge difference between dealing with the metastasized cancer and dealing with being a cancer preventative. We know things as simple as, again, nutrition, exercise, and sleep are cancer preventatives. In addition to that, these are tumors. They're not necessarily cancerous tumors. So the implications of that aspect of the study are that they're a good tumor suppressor, whether it's a cancerous tumor or not.
Okay. And then as far as let's say in humans go, I mean, I know there's only so much you're allowed to say, but what would be some health benefits that maybe you have heard from people or you've even seen yourself? Because even though it's the fitness channel, so obviously we care a lot about, our looks and working out, but health is a huge aspect of fitness. And, I mean, it's not just about working out to look good. You also want to live longer and you don't want to drop dead when you're 50, So what are some health benefits that you guys, let's say maybe you noticed personally, or even some of your clients have noticed?
Well,
I think I'm probably,
Patty, let me start on this with
okay.
We share the rat story on a regular basis, where these rats live 90% longer. And we often get people who say, why would I want to live longer, right? And it surprises me because I've always wanted to live longer, but I understand the reason. And the reason is because we haven't, as a society, been able to separate living longer with living infirmed, right? So living in a wheelchair or with an oxygen tank or with whatever, that's how people associate living longer. And once you tell them, hey, if you were able to have the same mental capacity that you have today, or the same physical capacity that you have today, and not or, but and those two things, would you then be interested in living longer? And at that point, almost everybody's like, yeah, I would be interested in living longer. And I like to kind of joke that in that original rat study, there was no notation that those rats that lived 90% longer than the control group were walking around with little rat walkers and little rat oxygen tanks, right? They lived healthy rat lives. They just lived them 90% longer. So, and I think Patty was going to share some of her experiences. So I'll turn it over to Patty.
Well, how I met Chris was that I was dealing with a pretty serious injury, and I could barely walk. And somebody gave me a sample of his raw C60 mixed in somebody's basement with olive oil. And the first spoonful, I was stunned. I got up and walked across my mountain cabin. It was shocking to me that I could heal that quickly, at least a part of me. And so I got really enthused, and I started going and checking out different companies that make and sell C60. But all of them that were doing it were buying their raw product from Chris and his partner, Robert, who started making C60 30 years ago. Now, Chris doesn't look old enough. He's in his 50s. Look at his skin. For me, when I look for a healing product, I look at people's health. I look at the two of you. You're radiantly healthy. Your skin is gorgeous. If I didn't go to the dermatologist yesterday, I probably wouldn't have this. But for my age, I am feeling so blessed to have this product. But I decided that what I wanted to do for a living, and I had already made a bunch of movies, won a lot of awards. There's some of them over there behind me. But I needed to step into something a little bit more life-serving after I finished filmmaking. And so I decided to go into the C60 business. Why not go to the top and go to the lab? So I called Chris and Rob, and they knew who I was because I was promoting the heck out of it. I was doing a lot of interviews on the air talking about my subject matter, documentary films, and people were starting to buy it like crazy, but they didn't have access to buying the really good stuff. So I called Chris and I said, you know who I am, because I'm the one blowing up your business with all these other companies. How about you and I get together and do something? And they flew me down within days. They sent me an NDA within an hour. We were really excited because everything they do, I don't, and vice versa. And here they are with this fabulous lab. And after I'd seen a garage and a basement and a warehouse that makes C60, then they flew me down to Texas to see their lab. And it was this lavish, immaculate, everything was huge. And everything is moving and spinning. And there's big, huge urns of C60 powder worth a fortune. And I felt like I was kind of at Disneyland for grownups if you love your health. So immediately we decided to be partners. And for them, their gift is I am into all the other aspects of how can we use ESS 60. It's one thing to take it on a spoon and feel great and sleep better. But I started realizing when people buy a bottle and they spend 100 or 200 or more, depending on how much you want to take every day, sometimes you get a little drip on the side or you drip it on the counter. I started taking it and wiping it on my face, and my skin really changed. So I called the guys and I said, would you let me create a facial serum? And they were like, well, yeah, I guess. So I got a couple of professional formulators. This stuff is so good. And the testimonials are over the top. Even you, David, I say even you because you're a man. Men love the facial serum because it smells like rosemary and it goes on like butter and it stays on for quite a while. My mom in her 90s said, yeah, it really fixed my lips. And I was like, lips? She said, yeah, it's as good as all my expensive stuff on my face, but what it did for my lips. So my next one, I created a lip serum in fabulous mint and unscented, because the more ESS 60 we can introduce to our skin and our interior, and I probably take more than anybody ever has because I've had a lot to work on. I'm finding amazing things that are coming literally through my skin out of my body because my body will not accept impurities anymore. So I'm this walking testimonial, but I'm also the social director. And I find people like David who have channels that have people, audiences that could really use the benefits of more strength consistently. It's almost like the ESS 60 formulation that we have, which was the one used for the rat study, is actually kind of an athlete's secret. It's almost like a backstage pass to having a little bit of an advantage over the others. And I think that that's going to be one of the things that your exercising fabulous body people would really enjoy, is having more endurance, having more strength. But like Chris said, we're not hearing people talk about hurting anymore. They're saying that after my workouts, I feel great. That is huge. And sleep, my God, I'm sleeping 10 to 12 hours a night. I haven't done this since I was a kid. So for me, now that I'm with the company, the lab, I feel like I'm drinking gold every day. And the people that complain, oh, your product is expensive, some people actually think that we are more expensive than the competition. And my only answer is compare ESS 60, which is pure C60, to a 95.9 or 99.95% C60, which is mixed with who knows what or where it came from. But I said it's basically like you're comparing a filet mignon to a deep fried chicken McNugget. Yeah, we're more expensive than chicken McNuggets, but I'd rather have filet mignon for an edible supplement and going on my skin, my lips, and pretty soon we're going to have a body butter.
Sounds great. So with all these different products, how much should someone take? I mean, can you take too much? Like, I mean, what if you drink like a third of the bottle a day and put it all over your body? I mean, is there any negative effects, any side effects? Or is it just pure good benefits? Or would you just take too much and just pee it out and it would go to waste? Or does your body absorb it all?
David, that's a great question. This is a typical dose. So it's 5 mils. That's 1 teaspoon. I actually haven't had mine today, and I usually take a little bit more. So I know Patty just turns the bottle usually, but
only when I'm down to the bottom. Otherwise, I'm gracious with a spoon. We recommend people start with a teaspoon every morning before noon, preferably with food and water for best absorption. Some people feel differently. Some people feel that if you eat an apple, you'll also get the hydrogen blend in with the C60, ESS 60, which can enhance it. I don't know if it's true, but I eat an apple a day also. And before noon is recommended because it does give you a buzz and energy. And you want to get a good night's sleep, take it in the morning. Some people take a tablespoon. I'm only 5'2". I take a tablespoon. And I'm going to double the dose that I send you, David, so you can take a tablespoon. And like Chris said, this athlete that runs ridiculous 50 miles every time he runs or on a regular basis, that he had to triple it to be blown away impressed. But to even impress somebody like that, I think is what's important. And everybody's body's going to be different. The only thing I've ever heard, and I read all the comments and testimonials, that's my job. Chris is the lab. I'm the social, everything on top of that. The comments that some people get, very rare, but some people get like cramping and nausea because their problem is their intestines are filled with muck. And so it takes a little bit of Roto-Rooter to get through that. I was one of those people in the beginning. It was like, my stomach. And then you'd go to the bathroom a lot more. And I think that once you get through that initial detox, which can also include headaches, people that have chronic headaches, chronic tension from breathing, we do hear that they get a little more headaches in the beginning, and then it eases. So there is the initial effect of detoxing what your problem is, but the stunning level of varieties of testimonials says to me that there's something very intuitive about the molecule. They called it a miracle molecule, and it won the Nobel Prize in Science, chemistry, but it goes to what people need. The two people that run the social media sites on C60 on Facebook that have been there for a few years, one of them is Philip Hillis, who just sent us a huge testimonial. And he said, I never lie, I never exaggerate. It took me a while to stop using the product I'd been using since the beginning. And once I got on C60 Evo, no comparison. I won't ever change again. The guy that runs the other site, C60, make it at home. He loves it when we send him gifts because it's so much better than what you can make at home. When you're working in a real lab with huge machines that don't add any oxidation or light, or oxidation would be let any air in the mixture. I mean, so it really is a solid blend. Their machines are huge. They go for 3 weeks. And then when we pour it out, we have an HPLC machine, which is a high
performance liquid chromatography.
Thank you. I always need that help. I should write it down and say it 3 times. What we do is we test every batch so that we know when our bottle says maximum concentration 8 to 8.6 milligrams per milliliters of C60, you will get that in this bottle. Avocado oil holds 0.6, and no matter how much we put in it, no matter how long we stir it, olive oil holds more than avocado, not by much. But the coconut oil that so many people love to buy and rave about selling, I guess they don't have an HPLC machine because it holds less than half the C60. And you can pour all the raw expensive powder in you want, but it's going to go to the bottom and not blend in with your formulation. So we always recommend the olive oil. If people don't like the taste, we now have olive oil capsules. So you can take 6 caps or a teaspoon and get the same benefit without tasting it. The coconut oil, Chris puts it in his morning coffee. Now I do too. But that's just like a morning quick, it's like a small buzz. Whereas when you take your tablespoon or your teaspoon, you're going to feel it all day long.
And I like the avocado one. I mean, I think it tastes a lot better for one. And also like, I know how my body is. I've been in a lot of different alternative health people, and I know how my body is. My body doesn't do well with anything that's more hot, spicy. I noticed the olive oil is a little more on the hotter side. If you know anything about Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, there's different body types. Some people, hot is better for them. Some people, hot's not as good for them. Some people, cool is better for them. Some people, it's not as good for them. My body is better with cool. So I know the avocado oil is much better for me than the olive oil. And of course, some people might be the opposite. So I'm glad you guys make the avocado oil for people like me.
Well, I'm actually aware of a guy who's allergic, which is very weird. Weird meaning unusual, like it doesn't happen very often, to olive oil and MCT oil. So he's taking the avocado. I do just want to add the peppery sensation that you have at the back of your throat. You may have noticed is different than if you were to eat like a jalapeno or anything with capsaicin in it. So it's not a hot in terms of capsaicin. It's actually polyphenols that you're experiencing. So a higher quality extra virgin olive oil actually has those high polyphenol counts in them and will create that kind of peppery feel. It's kind of funny. You've been to an Italian restaurant where they like put pepper grinds in the olive oil. The intent of that is to take an olive oil that's less expensive and make it taste more expensive, because that peppery flavor is one of the indications of a good quality olive oil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even do any pepper. That's how sensitive I am to anything warm.
I'm like you.
Oh yeah, you're like the same way.
Like
So I guess my next question would be, so like if someone's gonna start taking this, they probably, it sounds like they want to start small to see how they react, if they have a lot of toxins in their body, probably with like half a teaspoon, I would almost think, and then they can build up. Now, is there a certain like point that you don't want to build? Like, what's the most you've ever taken? Like, let's say in a week or a month or a day. I mean, what's like the max? Is it one of those things where you can just keep taking more and more and more over time and then just become like a superhuman? Or is there a certain point where it's like your body's going to be like, okay, we don't need any more, it's going to piss it out?
Well, a couple of things on that, right? So one of them is that the base oil, whether it's olive oil, whether it's avocado oil, whether it's MCT oil, those tend to be fairly calorie rich, right? So if you're guzzling, I'm aware of people taking 120 mils a day, right? A typical dose is 5 mils. So you're talking about almost a full month supply on a daily basis. So our understanding in terms of toxicity is that it's probably has the same toxicity as olive oil in general, which is probably associated with drowning, not with any actual toxicity inside of your body. So you can take what you want. I also want to point out, Patty was talking about some detoxing effects. That's for a very low amount of people. It's almost negligible. It's one of those, the squeaky wheel gets talked about. So on some Facebook forums, you hear about that, but in terms of my staff handling the phone calls, we don't get detox stories, I don't know, once a month. And that's less than 0.01% of our customer base. So just know that it could happen, and it's probably not going to happen. So our recommendation is that you would start on the recommended serving, which is 1 teaspoon or 5 mils.
And then what effect does it have when someone takes the whole bottle? Because I'm always the type of person that like, if 2 is good, 4 is better, so when it comes to supplements, I'm always thinking, okay, what's like the limit? Like if this product increased the lifespan 90% in rats, I mean, we don't know how long it's going to increase in humans, but I mean, what if those rats were given double the dose? I mean, would they live to be, like 200% as long,
Yeah. So again, start with the 5 mils. So that's the teaspoon. And then in terms of what you're going to take, you just got to, be aware of your calorie count. Where is the limit of actual benefit? We don't know that yet. That's something that as a scientific community, we're going to need to work on and say, hey, the benefit starts really at 1 teaspoon. In the case of Anthony Kunkel, he really noticed at 3 teaspoons that it had which is 1 tablespoon, that it actually had a big impact for him. We can recommend to him to double it. Frankly, I would assume the only reason he's, when you're training at that level, you're counting every single calorie that's going in your body, whether it's carbs, whether it's fats, whatever. I'm assuming that he hasn't even gone to 2 tablespoons just because he hasn't, decided to fit it into his diet yet. So so here's my routine. Like I like to share my routine. Have you ever done bulletproof coffee?
No, I'm not a big coffee drinker.
Okay, so I enjoy a cup of coffee. There's a thing called bulletproof coffee made famous by Dave Asprey. It's basically a cup of coffee, some ghee, which is purified butter, and then some MCT. Well, in our case, we have an MCT with the C60 molecule in it. So that's what I use in my coffee. While that's mixing, I'll take 1.5 teaspoons of our olive oil product. And just now you saw me take, that was basically 2.5 teaspoons. And then when I have, when I have my lunch, it's usually a salad, I'll put our avocado product on my salad, as a salad dressing. And so that's what I typically do. When I know I'm going to have a busy day, like back-to-back interviews, or I got to be using brain power, reading legal documents, or whatever I'm doing, I'll actually take a second dose halfway through the day. And I can tell you, I really started taking this product in earnest in 2018. And it wasn't part of my routine. I would just take it when I remembered it or whatever. And it was always the case that if in the middle of the day I started yawning and thinking I needed a nap or another cup of coffee, I could look back and I hadn't taken C60 Evo that morning. And now, as it's part of my coffee routine, here, let me share my testimonials, because one of them is related to sleep. And I think sleep is in terms of your exercise audience, is one of the more valuable ones. I played soccer for 25 years. I had a knee pain coming out of, it's not why I quit soccer, but I had a knee pain from the point I quit soccer in my left leg until I started taking the C60 Evo formula. I had that pain. That pain went away and has never come back. And I'm very scientific. I like binary. If I were telling you, I wouldn't tell you, oh, I feel like the pain is less. No. It's gone. It was there and it's now gone. My next testimonial is related to migraines. So I used to get 4 or 5 migraines a year. I'm the geeky scientist that you see in front of you. I have a spreadsheet of my migraines, and that's how I know. And it goes back to 2014. I used to get 4 or 5 migraines a year. In 2018, when I started taking this on a regular basis, not a single migraine. And when you couple that, I always share, my wife used to get 9+ migraines per month. And I always remember 9 because she had a prescription from the doctor, and they would only allow her 9 pills. So any migraine after that 9th one, she had to suffer through, and she would. It did take me a while to convince my wife to try the product. But when she finally started taking the product on a regular basis, she's down to from 9 a month to 1 every month or every other month. So migraine is having an impact. And we do know that this molecule, that this ESS60 molecule, is small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier, and it's possible that it's having some impact in your brain. We just don't know the exact details yet. And then finally, the one related to sleep, I have to embarrassingly admit, I used to take 2 naps on Saturday and Sunday before noon. I would literally wake up, go down to the couch. My kids were young, watching cartoons. They would sit on me and I would fall asleep. And that was nap number 1. Then I would wake up, I would have breakfast. I would go back to the couch. They'd sit on me again and they'd watch cartoons and I would take my second nap. Again, in 2018, taking this on a regular basis, I barely take naps. I probably take a nap a month now, not 2 before noon on both Saturdays and Sundays. So it is our most consistent testimonial, and everyone understands that sleep positively impacts your physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
And then are there any negative effects to taking this? Like, I mean, is it something kids can take? I mean, any pregnant women taking it? Any, like maybe people who have certain health conditions, if somebody's fighting cancer, they have diabetes. I mean, is there any, like, for anyone, is it bad for them? Is it dangerous? Should they stay away?
We're not aware of any ill effects. It's actually our legal responsibility to report any adverse effects of our products, however it interacts with anything that somebody might be taking. We've never had to report anything to the FDA because we haven't had any severe reactions. We have had some people who are uncomfortable with a full 1 teaspoon, right? A teaspoon of oil is a lot for some people. And in fact, you tried it and you're like, it doesn't suit me. I don't like the peppery piece. Let me get another oil. So that is one of the complaints that we'll get. Again, that's probably 5% of our customers, maybe as much as 7% of our customers. Patty talked about kind of detox effect. That's super, super low, but not outside the realm of possibility. Other than that, no, we're not aware of any adverse effects, and there's certainly no published literature about adverse effects related to any other supplement, any other kind of condition, any other medicines that you might be taking.
Yeah, I read all the testimonials and I haven't seen any bad reactions either. But I want to mention that we don't recommend it for children or pregnant women yet. We haven't tested it. And Chris admits that he's got his twins that have been taking it for a little while and they're 11, but we don't recommend it to other people's twins or kids because we don't know for sure. So Chris and I and the families are kind of the guineas, but it's been out there for years. And if there was some serious toxicity issue, it would have come up. Our concern now is the semi-professional labs that are making C60 because it's very valuable. I personally have gotten letters from WUHAN China, where they're making C60. And I thought it was a joke at first, but I've had 3 invites to buy C60 from them in that place where I wouldn't buy. I don't know if other competitors are buying from there, but there aren't very many labs in the world making C60, let alone we're the only ones making pure C60, ESS60. For my body, it's all I'm ever going to take. I don't want to run the risk of garage quality or basement or non-scientists. So we started making it for dogs and cats, and we are getting great testimonials. Old dogs are coming back to life. My favorite testimonial is this guy that wrote, and he said, I've got my 2 dogs, one's 14, one's 6, and the 14-year-old just lays in the corner. I really want to get him back to life. So I gave him some C60 Evo and took a few days, and all of a sudden he's back. He's humping again. So you can't make that stuff up. The guy was raving about his dog becoming youthful and fresh again.
Viral. So, I want to add, whenever we share pet testimonials, what's really important about those is there is no placebo effect on pets, right? The pet isn't, oh, I took that, salmon if it's a cat, or I took that bacon essence flavored oil this morning, and so I should be more youthful. And in this case, I should run around humping stuff all day. Like they just act the way they feel. And that addresses some people's concern about any supplement on the market. Is it a placebo effect? Well, it certainly isn't for the pets that are giving us results. And it certainly wasn't for the rats in that original study where they lived 90% longer.
Now, we do have a secret, which is Chris and Robert at the lab have already started an updated version of the rat study. And it's going to take years because that first study, ran for years. And sad but true, 5 years, they actually had to put down the final rat because that final C60 rat was still running the track, and the scientists were like, we want to leave. We want this over. So, it could have been more than 90%. And I think that's an interesting idea that David had to give them, maybe have a 4th control group that has twice the amount of ESS60 in their formula. But then the test could be 15 years long and you guys would be growing gray hair waiting for the punchline. But they were looking for toxicity and they just couldn't. So I think, the way the world is right now, there's so much confusion, so much frustration and anxiety that working out is a great way to move it. But we are hearing testimonials from a lot of our influencers that are wound up show people. And they're saying, my God, I'm all of a sudden calming. And that is really important, not only better sleep, but calming personality and mental acuity. These are really regular testimonials that I read because the ESS60 does something that somehow crosses the blood-brain barrier and improves your thinking, your focus, your patience. So a lot of really wacky people are starting to find some calm again. And we're watching it. I mean, we have this wonderful rock star, Ricky Rebel. And he said, I've always been so frenetic and now I feel very grounded and centered. And just doing shows with him, you can see the difference. So I think a lot of people are noticing, in their friends that there is improvement. And who knows what's coming with the after effects of the shot that a lot of people are getting. But now we're seeing articles that are saying that ESS60, C60 is going to help people heal if they have a bad reaction. This could be huge for the industry. So again, the EVO, C60 EVO is the evolution of C60 away from just C60, 99.95 or 99.99%. What they're saying is it's not pure yet, but we're really trying. ESS60 is the guys that have been making it 30 years. They've landed on pure C60, and that's all we sell. And I'm really proud to be partners with them because this is the easiest thing I've ever sold because it works. So Chris was talking about morning, noon, and night, his collection. So I ordered our sampler set. I haven't even opened the bottles yet, but you can tell one is coconut, one is avocado, and then olive oil, the different colors of the tissue. And the way Chris and the lab down there do all the shipping, which I love, but I get to design the boxes. So when you get your facial serum, this is so cool. They surprised me with this one. Just the presentation is fun. Here's the box. It's this beautiful purple facial serum. You slide this little pocket out and there's this beautiful, stand up, revive, replenish, rejuvenate. This is our new facial serum, and it's changing people's skin. And I'm in my 60s, and this has made a big difference for me. So pretty much 30s to 70s to 80s, people are loving it. And when we sell things together, like in a set, like the three of those, you save 15%. And we have the dog lover set. We have the cat lover set, which is one for you and one for your dog. And then you save money there. I'm just mentioning we do collection sets where we take 15% off when you get a couple products, and we do cluster everything so that you can save money. If you sign up for a monthly subscription, we give you 20% off. And if you use David's code, which he will have in the link below, you'll get another 10% off. So even though at first it might look expensive, there's many ways to save money. And I recommend everybody at least start with a 4-ounce bottle of whatever flavor you want.
I think she might have froze up.
Strong as the avocado or the aloe.
All right. I think you might have froze up for a second. Maybe it was my connection. Who knows? Just for like a split second. Okay. So, and then if they have any further questions, of course, I know your email address is on the website. And they can, of course, email you guys, and you guys are really good about getting back to them.
They can actually call us. We, like, our staff is well trained. If they've got any questions about, whatever they're interested in the product for, they can call us, and we've got answers.
All right. Well, sounds good. So is there anything else anyone should know? Well, actually, real quick, Patty, how long did you say you were taking it for? I think maybe you mentioned it, but I forgot.
I started in 2017, and I was doing a variety of far lesser products, but made with good C60, which came from Chris's lab. And when we got together, he was just in the process with his partner of landing on the ESS 60 and nothing less. So they do sell lesser C60, which is called industrial grade, which is pretty much what a lot of other companies are selling, is industrial grade C60. And Chris and Rob, when they sell that out of their lab, they tell people straight out, not guaranteed to be safe for human consumption. And they've actually had some pretty notable results where it's not good. It's not safe. And the difference is the manufacturing process. So the ESS 60 is your filet mignon. And in the world as it is today, some people write us and they say, is this other product good? And we're like, we don't know, but why would you want to tamper? You know, why don't you just buy the good stuff and then see how that affects you? And when I look at these two guys running the big C60 sites on social media, both of them were taking other products. And once they tried our ESS 60 formulation, they've never left. So all I can say is it is not really more expensive if you compare apples to apples. You're getting your money's worth, and a lot of people are taking that whole line of supplements on their kitchen counter after they try this. And I say, give it a week and skip those other 14 things that you spend a fortune on, you know, every other month. And just try the ESS 60 and see if it makes a difference for you. And a lot of people don't replace all the other stuff. They'll put in the important ones, fish oil, vitamin D, vitamin E, things we need in today's society. But this stuff really makes a difference. I've been taking it now 4 years, maybe 5. But the upgrade to working with Chris and putting out the pure stuff has made all the difference in the world. And I'm really glad you're working with us, David, because all the gorgeous women on your site and they're going to find a real advantage taking this product because they're going to have more strength, more mental focus, better sleep, and a much better workout. And if they celebrate heavily on the weekend, people actually call it a hangover helper. Like, people don't get hangovers or recovery hangovers from exercise. These are really big things to improve in your life. So everybody, you deserve it. Treat yourself well. Give it a try for a week or two. And most people don't go back to other things. You know, we've built our subscription platform by giving 20% off like this. And how many people cancel? It's simple, by email. You sign up, you get 20% off. If you don't love it, cancel by email and you're done. I mean, we don't make anybody give us reasons, we just cancel. But very few cancellations. And yesterday we had 56 resubscriptions in a day. I mean, it's so fun. I've never seen a business grow this fast, but ours is blowing up because we're delivering really good products that people can feel the difference. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to feel it. But for me, when I look at people selling things, I look at them. I'm looking at Chris and I'm looking at you, and you've only been on it a month or so. And I don't know if you looked this great 2 months ago, David, but you both have really healthy look. And I think that that's how I know I want to be using a product with people that have the radiance that I strive for. And I'm older and I've been through unbelievable experiences being a filmmaker in the field of ufology. So I had some really strange fun, but I was also, I wish I had had this product back then, but I'm glad to have it now. So C60evo.com, C60 Evo as in evolution. And the store is packed with all kinds of exciting and interesting products that you can try. And make sure and find David's code and use it for 10% off. And it also helps to support his channel. And we want to show him how many of you guys are interested in the product so that we can keep promoting with him and maybe getting all of his beautiful models some of this product and see if it boosts their endurance and energy. What do you think about that, David?
Yeah. So far there was a couple. I made a couple of videos about the product already. I haven't uploaded yet, and both of them heard about it. And they're like, "Yeah, I want to check it out too." So, you know, I think especially anyone who wants to look good and be healthy is interested. And these girls are pretty young, so they're not too worried about dying yet. But I think as you get older, then the whole longevity stuff becomes more of interest. But Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. I think it's been about an hour. Is there anything else you guys want to say, or anything we forgot to go over, or any last words?
Just David, thank you so much for having us, and we're excited about our partnership and how we might be able to help your audience.
All right, well, sounds good. So yeah, so everyone listening, if you're interested in checking out, I'll put the links below. You can go to the site, get the product, read more about it. Once again, if you have questions, feel free to give them a call or send them an email. And then, yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's feedback about it too. And I'll be taking it, and hopefully I get some amazing testimonials, and I'll be making videos in another 200 years. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Let me